Call this meeting to order. The agenda of a special meeting of the City Commission of Rio Grande City, Wednesday, July 29th, approximately 6:02 p.m. Commission Chambers here at City Hall, 101 South Washington Street here in Rio Grande City, Texas. First business order is call to order an invocation and pledge of allegiance. The invocation, Commissioner Ramirez, will you please lead us in the invocation, followed by Commissioner Garza with the pledge of allegiance.
Our hands, Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to be here this evening. I know you please guide us as we make decisions for the city, and it's a short agenda. I ask you to please guide us, and in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Next, we'll have the roll call and finding of quorum. Ms. Guerrero,
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Villarreal,
present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garza,
Here.
Commissioner Salinas.
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez.
Here.
Commissioner Jones.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
First business in order, and the only item business of order is item 3, discussion and possible action to approve resolution number 2014, amending resolution number 2015-19 regarding the grant application to the U.S. Economic Development Administration for assistance with drainage improvements to the Arroyo Los Olmos. Ms. Beas?
Yes, sir. Mayor and Commissioners, we've been back and forth with this application to the Economic Development Administration to assist with the drainage improvements that will enable the development in front of Walmart. We will be glad to know that through Mr. Hollis, who's present, and the application that was submitted through the firm, we were granted $1 million, and in our conversation, we kind of pushed with Mr. Ayala and Hollis's intervention. Also, we got an additional $150,000. So now we're looking at $1,150,000 to be awarded towards this project. In being that, already the EDC had put towards the matching $574,500. We are also needing the difference, the gap between the project amount and the amount that's being funded. And that is what you have in your resolution of $765,000. The previous resolution was for $574,500. We need to increase it to $765,000. And in my memo, you have the breakdown. The contribution from EDC will remain the same, and the difference will be coming from the developer. Mr. Hollis is present and ready to answer some additional questions if you have concerning the application process and his conversations with Mr. Jorge Ayala.
The only concern I had on the previous meeting, we had discussed about, if we're going to be committing these funds to the developer, that he doesn't turn around and not follow through with completing the project or, reselling that property, down the line. So we just need to kind of put something in the contract to where we are assured that those funds will be useful in the proper manner.
If I may, Mayor?
Yes,
Commissioners, for the record, Hollis Rutledge, for Rutledge and Associates, we're going to ask for a letter of commitment from the developer. In fact, we already got, as of today, we've got the environmental report, the engineering report, the maps, the State Historical Commission letter has been sent as a requirement for the application. Missing, of course, is a resolution which will be passed this evening, and the letter from the developer for the commitment of the project. That's a requirement, and it has to be submitted along with the application. So that ought to be able to be the safety net, if you will, as far as securing the federal funds. The funds, for all practical purposes, have been secured. With the addition, we had applied for the $1 million. Jorge Ayala was actually in Rio Grande City talking to your city manager. Your city manager actually took him together with us over to the site. And as a result of that conversation, we were able to get the additional $150,000 added to the 1 million that we had formally requested. But definitely, there has to be a letter of commitment from the developer attached to the application. Certainly, if this commission wishes to have additional sureties or guarantees from the developer, that's certainly up to the will and the commission and the mayor, if you also desire. But that ought to suffice with the commitment from the federal government to secure the funds.
And in addition to that, Mr. Ramirez, I know I instructed Dalinda, to our Economic Development Director, to talk to several cities and economic development corporations that had assisted this type of development. And there are agreements that we'll be signing with St. Ives. Mr. Troy Backman, who represents St. Ives, was notified of this during a conference call, and we told him, we need to assure ourselves, basically what you just said, we go in, we do the improvements, and then they turn around and sell it, or, worst case scenario, the deals fall and there's no development, and the job creation component of this funding is not there. And he understood, he's worked with this type of agreements in the past. So I know Ms. Jackie Salinas, our city attorney, has been aware of this, and we'll be working to iron out those parameters, because it seems it's going to be the city, EDC, landowner, and developer that have to be in this agreement. Obviously, the return, when all this gets done, will be multifold on the investment that we're doing right now. And we do want it to happen. Which is another thing that he will have to also provide to EDA, is the commitments from all the businesses that are going to be establishing themselves in this development. There is a special condition that will be part of the agreement when we get funded, and that will be the FEMA. We're still pending on FEMA. They have to approve the construction plans for widening the channel of the creek, and once that is done, then we basically have a green light to proceed with this construction of this grant.
And what's the component that we're gonna put in there to ensure that they come through with it?
I know we discussed on several. We talked about a lien on the property. We talked about reimbursement of the funds. We talked even about deeding the property to the EDC. So if their deals fall through, the amount of value that was invested in, because once this done, the value of the property is gonna go up, then EDC can use that land and start developing it.
Yeah, because that, right now, that property is considered
Flood zone.
just farmland in a floodplain. And I would think that the market value on it is that it is on a floodplain and that it is farmland. Now, if we turn this property into commercial property out of the floodplain, that property is gonna be worth a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So we need to have something in there in place that's going to assure that the investment, and está bueno, I mean, most of it is grant, but we're putting almost $500,000 in there out of our own pocket. And we need some guarantee that this thing's gonna come through.
And with all respect, Mayor, Commissioners, what we've discussed with the developer is in tailoring the development agreement, both for the EDC and the city, in the event there's a default, or in the event the project does not see its fruition within a certain timeline, then that would also be a default. And in doing so, we will have them put the land as collateral to us, first lien holder. And that's what we need, and we checked the land, there's no other liens, so we do have the right to first lien holder. We'll have all that language in there, so that in the event something doesn't span out, for whatever reason, act of God as well, we'll have first lien collateralization, and we'll have that language in there.
My question, Lisa, was, in order to invest this, we're looking at getting the map redrawn, what do y'all call it? Remove the flood zone.
Well, FEMA needs to come and
Certified.
certify, yeah.
My question is, the redesignation, does that happen when they know we're gonna do this, or after the?
What they submitted was a conditional letter of map revision where they're telling FEMA, we're proposing to do this construction, and by doing this, we'll be able to assure that the development will be above the flood zone, benchmark. They look at it upstream, downstream. They've been asking for a lot of information. They're still in review process. Once they approve that, and they might modify it,
That's my concern, that we invest this and they don't give us the
Well, we-
remapping zone thing.
Well, we can't start this. That's the
Without-
special condition that EDA said,
Right.
we will put it down where you will not be able to initiate anything until you get the FEMA clearance. So we can get funded, they can send us the agreement, you can approve it here and execute it, but we can't start until we get the FEMA.
It's clear.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's a
Do
special
we have
condition.
I know that there've been, maps of the, commercial businesses that are wanting to come in, but I've seen like 4 or 5 different plans already. Do we have a current updated one?
No, sir, and that's something that came up in the conference call at 1:30 that we had with EDA. And Ms. Patricia Shorter basically told, all of us that they needed a firm commitment from the businesses themselves, where they're, telling St. Ives, we will be moving in. Obviously, it's a big project. It's a big project. If you've seen some of the maps, it's gonna take some time. They are eligible to work on the area that's right in front, along frontage to the 83, but further back, that's the area that's gonna have to be coming in after we do this construction. But to tell you the truth, the maps, the latest maps I have not seen.
My other question is, Lisa, who's gonna control the construction? Are we just gonna turn over the money to somebody
No, sir.
else and they're gonna do it, or are we going to
We have to,
Be-
yes.
hitting the project?
The city is the applicant, the city has full control of the monies, the construction, and all aspects of the grant. It was brought up in a conversation with St. Ives that perhaps, they could get reimbursed and using their contractor, and that was presented to EDA, and they said absolutely not.
Okay,
They can bid, they can submit a bid as a general contractor when we bid it out, but for us to just turn around and reimburse them, no. Mm-mm.
okay.
No, sir.
That was my other concern.
This is a once in a lifetime basic, it's a lot investment, and we're moving forward, we know this, we're working first time in this type of partnership. But
Do we already know what's gonna happen with the railroad and,
they have already purchased the railroad easement.
okay,
The railroad will be removed, not by us. They'll have to take on that cost to remove the railroad.
okay.
We're good to go on this. We have a deadline for July 31st to submit all documentation. They will have a technical review on August the 14th. And from there on, the investment committee meets, and then we'll be sent an award letter, basically, in
At
September.
which point, then of course, we'll have to make some arrangements
By when is the deadline for the letter of commitment from the developer?
as soon as possible, right now.
It has to be in.
It has to be, because the review panel meets on the 14th of August, which is around the corner, and they should have everything in place. We have to have everything in place so that they can be able to review it by the 14th, and then be able to award by hopefully the end of the month of August, and then make the announcement probably sometime early September. At which time then, of course, we would have the mayor and the council invite the EDA officials, the congressman, so on and so forth. But we're looking at the very early part of September.
And the developer will be securing the letter of commitment from all the businesses.
Has to.
Has to,
Has to.
as part of this application.
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll be able to see,
Who exactly is committed.
who's committed, who's coming in, how this is gonna be designed. So we should have a whole works.
The federal government, I guarantee you, is not gonna release any money to us, and certainly you're not gonna release any money either. But that's certainly a safety net, that's a requirement. He has to come up.
I'm just a little concerned because, you know, that we've been seeing different maps every time that you know, it's presented to us, and I see different businesses coming in, and it kinda has me like, you know, the world's not turning around the way it's supposed to.
Well, I know that we've seen also different maps, and they like to maintain a lot of confidentiality for fear that somebody might lure some of those businesses to other properties, and they're investing all of this money in there. So we've heard at the Galveston workshop that most of the times there is that mystery shroud over the actual investors or the actual businesses until the deal is done and it goes through. But the commitment letters at this point, because we're working with federal funds, they have to be part of the application. It's not like, you know, where they're using private funds or other funds. This money comes with a lot of compliance and federal assurances. Yes.
This is just a big investment for the city, so, you know, we just can't, you know,
And
throw the ball on this one. We gotta make sure we got all our lines straight.
And that's the thing, when we're looking at this type of investment, this is a multi-million-dollar investment impacting the whole county. You're looking at at least a 30-mile radius, even more than that.
Oh, yes.
So it's not just Rio Grande City, but we're looking at the entire county and some of the surrounding cities as well.
Absolutely.
Um,
And those marketing studies have to be.
Right.
Otherwise, that developer would be.
Exactly.
Nor would the box stores that they bring in.
Elisa, did we invite the county in with these $500,000?
I think Rose Benavides at the Industrial Foundation made an attempt to secure. We still have hopes that maybe they'll come in. We don't know. Once we go out for bids, it might come in at more than this, and we'll have to ask for assistance from the county at this point. I will say that Congressman Cuellar has assisted with this project. Mr. Jorge Ayala with EDA also was very open to fund in this area. And I think Ms. Patricia Shorter, also EDA, mentioned that St. Ives has a good track record in their development. So she basically said, I understand why we don't have the business and box store commitment letters, but I don't think this agency or this firm would move as far as they have if they weren't sure of what commitments they have from the businesses. So she spoke highly of St. Ives.
Yeah,
So,
the developer apparently has a track record.
but we still need to, for all cases and
Oh, absolutely.
worst case scenarios, protect ourselves. But this is the deadline. That's why we had to meet today and have this one item agenda, because our deadline is July 31st.
And if I hear correctly from the commission, really it's going back to protecting the return of investment, that we're securing the funds, and that seems to be already taken care of, or at least, for sure, we're gonna be managing that.
There's two more steps, Mayor. Obviously, the agreement that we'll have with the developer / landowner, and also, they still have to go through their subdivision process. They had submitted a preliminary subdivision, but because EDA turned around and said, we need several requirements in the land, the street, they all have to be dedicated to the city. And so they had to change it. They go, you know what, we're gonna pull it out, let's see, and finish off with EDA what they need, and then they're gonna submit it as EDA FEMA wants. So we still have two more steps to go through, which is the agreement to protect the investment and the subdivision of the property.
And we should be getting notified by FEMA, more or less, timeline, what are we looking at,
30 days?
30 days?
Yeah, in 30 days, but maybe another 30 days.
Didn't we see that last year?
They keep pushing 30 days and 30 days.
Bureaucracy, but that's what it is. Hopefully.
Yeah, we do have a contact person, and I did say that we had this EDA application involved, so it was, urgent that we would get this going. It's already going on 7 months.
Yes.
That they submitted the application, but that's FEMA.
And just one more time, the drainage improvements test, it's a canal that we're gonna build, or what are we gonna do?
If you're familiar with the farmland in front of Walmart, and towards the back, there's like a gas well, a drainage, on east side of that well, starting there, the channel is widened, not deepened, it's just widened. Then that dirt,
actual
that's,
arroyo.
see,
The arroyo.
el actual, el arroyo, it's just gonna be widened towards the west side, towards the property, see, towards the farm part. That dirt will be moved and just set on top of the area that's next to the farm, the field there. And as it moves, it's gonna go all the way and taper again towards, as it nears the bridge, the Los Olmos Bridge.
That I would have liked to have seen, is to have the whole arroyo dug out and all that dirt used for that, because that is
So the dirt will be used to lift the property out of the flood zone, and the widening of the channel allows for the water to be drained from the field or from the developed area, and in that widened channel, that's where basically it's a larger detention area. The hydraulic of the water will basically be that the cubic feet of water behind, as it narrows towards the bridge, it could raise the levels of the water at the creek, because now you have all of this pressure, it goes up. It won't increase the hydrology, but it will raise the hydraulic of it to move.
You said that the engineering had already been done. Who did
The developer,
SMB,
Okay.
it's part of the,
SMB.
and then, of course, this case SMB.
SMB?
And we'll be using their construction plans to bid out the project. We will not be hiring an engineer to do and design it, because this is what's already been submitted to FEMA. This is what FEMA's gonna be approving, so whatever FEMA wants, that's what we have to construct. And so those are the construction plans. We will be having to have an inspector engineer to inspect the project as it's being constructed.
That will have to be.
Yes.
As far as the engineering costs, the supervision of the project, is that something that we're also gonna do ourselves, or?
The construction plans to bid out? No, sir. Those are already done. Those are already paid for by the developer. He had to do those in order to submit his CLOMAR to FEMA. But we will have to hire an engineer / inspector
To verify.
To
to
oversee
inspect,
the project.
yes, to oversee the project. And they'll work in conjunction with S&B, but we don't have to procure and hire an engineer to develop the plans, because those are already done. They have to be done to submit them to FEMA. It's a new partnership that we're moving into, but it's going to set it to where everyone is involved and responsible for their area.
And at this point, it seems that really we're contingent on what FEMA notifies us. But once that does occur, as per previous conversation with the developer, looks like it's gonna be a project that would be moving forward quite fast if, once we get through some of those initial hurdles. Because as per the conversation, it seemed he was really committed to this project. And at some point in the future, when we do have phone conversation, definitely welcome some of you to be part of that, to really hear the side of the developer as well.
We'll still have those conversations.
Yes, we'll have.
It looks like we've come a long way to this point, but we still have quite a bit. You know, just the construction, it's massive. You're working with moving water and hopefully no hurricanes, and so all of that is involved, so.
Water, not to mention the railroad tracks as well.
The railroad tracks have to be removed. So he's got a lot of work still. He still
There's
has
some
to move.
infrastructure in there that's gonna have to also be taken care of.
But we are very lucky to get 1,150,000 in grant money. grant.
Lisa, did we take into consideration the infrastructure that's gonna have to be adjusted?
There was, they are staying away from the gas wells. They are staying, they did abandon an irrigation easement that was there. So they've done their work, and I think their title commitment, what they submitted is cleared. I mean, this developer obviously doesn't want anything hindering from the businesses coming in. And for the record, this is the one that did the theater and the Sprint and all of that area.
Yeah, but we have lines coming in, Lisa, from the east side, both water and sewer.
Along the highway.
Yes.
Yes, that will have to be lowered, and this is based on the TxDOT project. At the entrance, when they come down and they start meeting there with the Highway 83, that's the area that needs to be lowered, and we're coming in with the 10-inch sewer line. We will be requesting during the subdivision process that this subdivision install a lift station in order to connect to the new sewer line.
At this time, I would like to add kudos to everybody involved in securing these funds. I mean, when you're looking at $1,150,000, that's something to be said. So kudos to everybody involved in that, in securing those funds, by the way. That's excellent feat to be able to
In the
Reduce
2
that.
months, maybe? It's been 2 months that we submitted the application?
Yes, 2 months, yes.
2, 3
All
months.
working together, the staff and us. And thank God for EDA, they were.
They've been very cooperative.
The acting director was here physically visiting Lisa, Jorge Ayala, from a little town close to Corpus Christi,
Very
And
small
Roy.
town, very small town.
but very committed, and we're very lucky that we were able to get that assistance. 'Cause I'm sure it's been a long time since we've been looked at seriously by a federal agency.
And then, and this project will fall on the headaches
Gonna
of
change.
Ms. Lisette Peña when we get awarded for all the reporting and documentation, record keeping.
Of course, that leads to something else that it's not on the agenda, but we're addressing it. Elisa and I are working almost daily. And that's our water tower issue. And we're this close. But we've gotten some strong commitments from the Water Development Board. In fact, Commissioner Beck Boone was here physically, visiting with Lisa and
Mr. Klein.
Mr. Klein, and we took him to the water tower, and he looked at it, he says,
To the river also.
and to whatever he says, I got the message. So, they're just anticipating for us to submit the plans and specifications, and once that happens, hopefully they'll be ready to rock and roll. Of course, we have a deadline. We gotta submit everything by the 15th, or then we gotta wait for next fiscal year. And hopefully, but I guarantee you, Elisa has been daily on top of the responsible parties to make darn sure that information, engineering information is submitted. So we're hoping that will happen. So it'll happen simultaneously, because obviously once this economic development comes in line, it's obvious, we're gonna need to be prepared to provide the appropriate water pressure, and appropriate water demands of an economic development project. And hopefully this will not be the major one. I think that we're off and running for some spin-off effects as a result of this particular project.
Thank you, Ms. Bess. And it's been said, I mean, obviously, when you look at a project like this, it's a massive scale, and it will transform the area, region for that matter. So again, thank you. Any other comments, questions, thoughts?
I move we approve item 3 is presented.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion to approve. Item is presented. We have a second. Any further discussion on this item? No further discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Same sign, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I move that we adjourn.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a second. Any further discussion on this item? No further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Same sign, motion carries. We are adjourned. It is 6:32.